Hello, everyone. Welcome to Royal Telly. I'm your host, Chloe. Today, we're diving into an administrative dispute that's been making waves in the media between the sovereign nation of Chad and a conservation NGO, African Parks. It's a story that's been twisted and turned to target none other than Prince Harry. A week ago, major news outlets were quick to frame a government policy adjustment as a personal failure for Prince Harry, with headlines screaming about a major setback for Prince Harry's wildlife charity. But is there more to the story than what's being sold to us? Oh, absolutely. Today, we aim to shed light on the truth behind this controversy and expose the media's deliberate distortion. We'll explore the dispute, deconstruct Prince Harry's actual role in African parks, and reveal how the media has manipulated the narrative. Join us as we delve into the dispute, the real role of Prince Harry in African parks, and the media's distortion. Let's start with the facts of the dispute. Just over a week ago, a storm was brewing in the form of administrative disagreements between the nation of Chad and a conservation NGO, African Parks. The media, quick to jump on the bandwagon, painted this as a personal setback for Prince Harry, who sits on the board of African Parks as a non-executive member. The headlines were brimming with stories of a major setback for Prince Harry's wildlife charity. A government policy adjustment, a common occurrence in the world of international relations, was suddenly a reflection of Prince Harry's abilities. The message was loud and clear. Anything touched by Prince Harry was doomed to fail. But hold on a minute. Let's pull back the curtain on this stage. After 9 days of diplomatic discussions, the truth came to light. The media had spun a web of lies, twisting the narrative to serve their own purpose. Prince Harry's role at African Parks is that of an advisor and advocate, not a manager of day-to-day operations. He uses his platform to shine a light on critical issues, such as the incredible achievement of African Parks in reducing elephant poaching in Zekuma by over 95% since 2010. Yet the media chose to ignore this. They took a complex situation involving the Chad Environment Ministry and new management terms and reduced it to a single toxic soundbite. Prince Harry failed. They conveniently overlooked the operational structure of African parks, the remarkable conservation achievements, and the diplomatic efforts of the EU delegation. Why, you ask? Because they had a narrative to sell. They wanted to add another fail to the Sussex's list. A simple administrative hiccup in Central Africa was magnified into a global drama aimed at discrediting the life's work of Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex. So we see how a simple policy adjustment was turned into a personal failure for Prince Harry. But as the reinstated management agreements show, the truth always prevails. The critics may have gone silent, but the facts speak for themselves. The enduring dedication of Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex to global causes remains unshakable, no matter how hard the critics try to weaponize every piece of non-news. Now, let's talk about Prince Harry's role in African parks. His title might be a mouthful, a non-executive board member, but what does that mean? In essence, Prince Harry is an advisor and an advocate. He's the one in the trenches, lending his voice and using his influence to bring attention to critical issues. Let's take a moment to appreciate one of the incredible feats achieved under his watch. Since 2010, African Parks has managed to reduce elephant poaching in Zekuma by over 95%. That's a testament to the power of advocacy and the change that can happen when someone like Prince Harry steps up to the plate. However, it's vital to clarify that Prince Harry doesn't manage the day-to-day contracts of the parks. Zekuma National Park, the Entity Reserve, or the AUK project, these are not his daily responsibilities. His role isn't about bureaucracy or paperwork. Instead, it's about shining a light on the issues that matter, advocating for change, and supporting the conservation efforts on the ground. The media often misrepresents this role, boiling it down to a simplistic narrative of failure. But the reality is far more complex and nuanced. The work that Prince Harry does isn't about ticking boxes or managing contracts. It's about the bigger picture, the fight against poaching, the preservation of biodiversity, and the promotion of sustainable ecotourism. Let's not lose sight of the fact that Prince Harry's involvement with African parks is about more than just a title or a role. It's about a commitment to making a difference, a dedication to conservation that goes beyond the 9 to 5. His work with African parks isn't just a job. It's a passion, a mission, a calling. Clearly, Prince Harry's role is more advisory and advocacy-oriented rather than operational. His contributions go beyond what's written in a contract or dictated by a job description. His impact is measured not in headlines or sound bites, but in the thriving ecosystems, the reduced poaching rates, and the increased awareness around conservation. His role, in essence, is to be a catalyst for change. Now on to the media's misrepresentation. It's astonishing how the media, in its relentless pursuit of sensationalism, chose to ignore the operational structure of African parks. This organization is not a one-man show. In fact, it's a multi-layered entity with a diverse team of experts, all working towards a common goal: conservation. Prince Harry, as a non-executive board member, is a part of this team. He brings awareness to critical issues, but does not single-handedly manage the projects. And yet, the media chose to simplify this complex structure into a one-dimensional narrative, pinning the entire responsibility on Prince Harry. But there's more. They also conveniently overlook the commendable achievements on the ground. African Parks, with its dedicated team and strategic efforts, has made significant strides in conservation, including a remarkable reduction in elephant poaching in Zakuma by over 95% since 2010. So why did the media choose to sidestep these facts? Because they were more invested in pushing a negative narrative about Prince Harry and the Sussexes, a narrative that would grab eyeballs and fuel controversy, a narrative that was far removed from the truth. This situation was not about Prince Harry failing. It was about a discussion over new management terms between the Chad Environment Ministry and African Parks. But the media, with its appetite for drama, twisted it into a tale of personal failure for Prince Harry. They weaponized an administrative dispute to discredit the Sussexes, ignoring the diplomatic pressure that was clearly being exerted by the EU delegation. This is a prime example of the media's tendency to twist facts to fit their narrative. It's a stark reminder of how they can oversimplify a complex situation, ignore the achievements on the ground, and manipulate the truth to serve their agenda. But as we've seen with the reinstatement of the management agreements, the truth always finds a way to correct the sensationalized fiction. And that's something we should all keep in mind the next time we come across a headline that seems too dramatic to be true. To conclude, we've navigated the stormy waters of international diplomacy, media misrepresentation, and the unshakable commitment of two admirable figures, Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex. We've dissected the facts and debunked the sensationalism that has sought to undermine their dedicated work in conservation and global welfare. Let's remind ourselves of the key findings. The dispute between the Chad Environment Ministry and African Parks was an administrative hiccup, a discussion over new management terms. It was not, as some media outlets would have you believe, a personal failure for Prince Harry. In fact, Prince Harry's role as a non-executive board member of African Parks is one of advocacy and advisory. He is not involved in the day-to-day management of the park contracts. but rather lends his voice to spotlight critical issues. Furthermore, the unprecedented success of African parks in reducing elephant poaching in Zakuma by over 95% since 2010 is a testament to the effectiveness of their conservation efforts. This is a fact that was conveniently ignored by the media in their rush to paint a narrative of failure. The reinstatement of the management agreements between Chad and African parks is evidence of the resilience of truth against sensationalized fiction. The funding is flowing, the anti-poaching initiatives are back on track, and the long-term partnership continues to flourish. The commitment of Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex to global causes remains unshakable. Their dedication to conservation, mental wellness, and community engagement endures, despite the relentless attempts to weaponize every piece of non-news against them. The truth, as we've seen, is far more resilient than the gossip. Thank you for joining us today on Royal Telly. I'm Chloe, and remember, the truth is always more resilient than gossip. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more such insights. Until next time, stay informed and stay royal.